Oh no.
Hello, good evening and welcome to the muted team from the quiz number 6. So I said I wouldn't do that again, so start off with a mute. So to repeat what I said, those of you who are sharp-eyed will notice that I've invested in a new light to show us off to our beautiful dramatic effect. Well, Abby anyway. And yes, thank you. Good start. At least we haven't dropped off line so far. Hostage fortune statement. Thank you to Wings TV for providing that opening clip. And we thought we'd have a bit of an American fest for the American viewers that we have, particularly Slider over in the States. So a couple of changes tonight, but most of the usual fun and pain, because I know all the answers and you don't at this stage, and even Abby doesn't know all the answers tonight. So welcome to this, as I say, quiz number 6. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for giving up a nice sunny evening in the UK. I know some of you are slightly ahead of us time-wise. Thank you, Lucy. Yes, so I should give a pound for every time that I've muted on this quiz, rather than actually me saying something to Abby thinking it was muted but not. Anyway, so without further ado, we'll move on to the quiz itself. And the number 6 has a couple of changes, thanks to some of you who've contributed. So we've decided that, well, in fact, I've run out of questions for the round 5, which was the film, TV and music round. We were starting to stretch the imagination on aviation, film, TV and music. So actually we've decided to replace that now with an iconic aircraft round. And tonight's round is provided by Justin. So thank you, we'll get it right eventually. So hopefully that's a bit better now. So round 5, we have a new iconic aircraft round that, at least for now, will replace the aviation, TV, films and music round. And my brother in Spain, headboard cockpit Witts, whose Commodore swimming pool is open today, congratulations, is providing round 6, the bonus round. Other than that, we have the usual pain round, round 4. I think those of you amongst you have different rounds that you actually prefer then. So Brandon, yes, you might have a chance on round 5, but you haven't seen it yet. So the rules, as you know, it's for fun. 1 point per answer, 1 per official bonus point, and the occasional bonus point from Abby. The bonus round, I don't vouch for the questions there, but Peter, my brother, headboard cockpit Witts, has set those. And tonight's alphabet and aviation. All is not quite what it seems. And James, I'm not sure if you're on tonight, but we decided to give you a break so you can actually contribute without knowing all of the photo answers. So most of the photos and videos tonight our provider Air Wings TV, Andres Ramirez, also known as Avianca 757. And we have a new set of videos at the end, but I'll talk about that at the end. So anyway, without further ado, we'll get on and talk about start the quiz. Oh, some text messages coming in.
Sorry.
That's right.
I can't help being popular.
Not muted again. I'm just getting a bit paranoid about being muted again. So without further ado, we'll go on to part 1, which is rounds 1, 2, and 3. For those, I think we've got at least one new viewer tonight. Then we'll do rounds 1, 2, and 3 as a block of questions. Then we'll have the answers. Then we'll do 4 and 5, and then bonus round 6. So we'll start with round 1, aviation general knowledge. And so we'll start number 1. You know that. Oh, that's good, James. So yes, you can take a break this evening. I don't think any of your photographs have slipped in tonight. So round 1, question 1 is going to be one of those questions that when lockdown finishes, and we're all in various stages of release from lockdown, one of those things you'll be itching to say at a barbecue or on a dinner party, did you know? Question 1, round 1, question 1. On a typical modern long-haul aircraft, what speed do the contents of the toilet typically reach on flushing? 3 choices, 100 miles an hour, 200 miles an hour, or 300 miles an hour. So I'm sure when you've been sitting on a long-haul aircraft, it's the thing you've always thought about, I wonder. So that's round 1, question 1. The music's very quiet.
It's elusive.
We'll have the gentle background music, courtesy of YouTube Music. So that's round 1, question 1. Hopefully that's fairly straightforward. Round 1, question 2. In naval aviation, typically, it may be used elsewhere, but I wouldn't vouch for that. Where would you typically find the term Alert 5? Music suddenly got loud.
Well, the toilet, babe.
Sitting in a seat, Bob. Where in naval aviation would you typically find the term Alert 5 most used, and what does it mean? So you don't get a bonus point there, I'm afraid. It's just hopefully it answers both of those. That's what the IPS means. Yeah, not over dinner, Brandon. Right, so that's round 1, question 2. Round 1, question 3. In 2019, I forget actually the source of this. I think this might be Syrium again. Which was the busiest airport in the world by number of movements? And you get a bonus if you know by passengers. So in 2019, interesting because that's where, of course, most of the graphs now you see about passenger movements, etc., are linked. Which was the busiest airport in the world by number of movements? And specifically in that year, it's important by passengers. So anyone who knows Airbus and Boeing well, you can ask them to fit an IPS gauge on the next version of aircraft, if there isn't one already. Round 1, question 4. Which is the world's oldest airline? This crept in here as a bit of a teaser for the history round. Which is the world's oldest airline? Bit of variety in this general knowledge round tonight. Hope everyone's well, by the way. I know at least one of you has been suffering from COVID-19, but hopefully everyone's well. Oh, Joseph, you're on. So hopefully you enjoyed the American Fighter Bomber Fest at the start. We thought we were being a bit British about all the film clips, so we thought we'd spread our wings across the Atlantic, so to speak. And we have a bit more of that at lunchtime. Halfway, lunchtime. This is lunchtime for Avianca 757 and people in the States.
Okay.
That's round 1, question 4. Round 1, question 5. And thanks to Bob Dick. So, Bob, you don't get any points for this one because you provided the question. Which airline was the first to show in-flight motion pictures, i.e. movies, on a regularly scheduled service? And you get a bonus if you know the year. This might be one of those things you could also say at a barbecue or on a flight, did you know moments. And if you do that, you can say, Bob Dick told me via the Question of Aviation Quiz or something. thanks, Joseph. We have more in the break anyway. So, round 1, question 5. Round 1, question 6. For those helicopter-minded people amongst you, what does the collective lever do on a conventional helicopter? There's an extra lever on a helicopter. For those who haven't been on a helicopter, what does the collective lever do on a conventional helicopter? What's that?
It's an emoji reading this. It's my emoji.
What's that emoji, Bob? Can you explain that emoji?
Explain it.
Is it like that?
Is that this? It's sassy. No, it's not.
I thought there was one like that.
There is. That's I don't know.
We can have an emoji quiz, Bob. I haven't seen that emoji before.
I think it's that one. Oh no, it's not. It's dabbing, I think.
Can you explain that emoji, Bob? And can you?
I'm leaving that to
I'm
you.
not
Bob.
sure.
I'm
I've got.
explaining
Is that the special
dabbing.
one that's on your phone or laptop?
I think it's on. Yeah.
So that's round 1, question 6. Round 1, question 7. Which airline first invented business class? So it's not actually to say, amongst you, some of you think that the first airline to put it on, but this is actually the first airline that invented business class, and I believe was the first one to actually put it on their aircraft. The dab emoji. Oh. You can tell I'm an expert at dabbing, so.
Yeah, I got it was dabbing.
Oh, that's a different one from Mark there. What's that one, Mark?
I don't really know. Oh, it's you got this apparently.
Ah.
Apparently, Bob, yours is an elbow
Thanks,
cough.
Lucy. It's a dab, so I'm learning things all the time on this quiz. It's good that it works 2 ways.
Well, technically, the YouTube term is elbow cough.
Ah. So that's round 1, question 7. Round 1, question 8. What does the term back turn mean? If you're describing a flying mission or whatever, and you describe the term back turn, what does it mean? Oh, what's that one?
I don't know.
This is becoming rapidly the emoji sharing.
It's a monkey saying oops, apparently.
That's another one from Brandon.
That looks like a peace sign.
So Abby's the official emoji translator tonight. Round 1, question 9. What are the runway designations at London Luton Airport as of now? What are the runway designations at London Luton Airport?
Bob, if you can demonstrate a dab, that would be brilliant.
What are the runway designations at London Luton Airport as of now? Not London Luton International, is it? I think it's dropped the international. I think it's London Luton Airport now. And then round 1, question 10. For those of you who didn't enjoy this first round, aviation general knowledge. Round 1, question 10. Which airline first introduced internet and online check-in? See, just think after tonight, you'll know all these things that you didn't realise you needed to know. Round 1, question 10. So when somebody's checking in, when you next have a chance, or use the internet of things to check in, you'll be able to say, when you know the answers, of course, unless you know them already, which airline first introduced internet and online check-in? Oh, what's that emoji from Peter?
It's my Peter.
Headboard cockpit Witts.
Hydrate.
Ah. So we need to hydrate, or you're suggesting we hydrate, or you're hydrating?
You'd think so, Brandon. I also got this wrong.
So that's the end of round 1. Sorry if it was a bit painful, but lots of useless information in there if you can retain it when you get the answers. Oh, another emoji I haven't seen. Thank you, Lee. So anyone want any of the round 1 questions again? We'll pause for a little bit just to see if there's any that you painfully want to know again.
It's an elbow bump.
That's another one. That's that one.
Just needs some coronavirus friendly.
So next time you have one of these questions about show the last 5 emojis that you used, your phones will be a bit weird tonight then, because you'll have all of these on.
Don't know if it's entirely... Okay, fine.
Right, so we'll go on to round 2 then, civil aircraft. So hopefully this is where some of you feel a bit more comfortable. And Round 2, question 1. Can you name the aircraft type? I don't actually know which airport this is, other than it's not in the UK, but so you don't get a bonus if you know the airport, because I don't know what it is. And so thanks to Mr. Ramirez, not sure he's on tonight, in Colombia, who's provided the photographs, a lot of the photographs for tonight. Oh, extra emojis in YouTube, I didn't know that.
I can't find it.
Thank you, Bob. It's amazing what you learn when you come to this.
With the sanitizer one, educating me here.
What an airlines in emoji round work.
Right, okay, I'm with you, they're all here.
Yes, maybe.
Learning.
So that's round 2, question 1. Can you name the aircraft type?
Wooden airlines in emojis round work.
Yeah, I saw that one. Round 2, question 2. What is the main distinguishing feature of the A320neo, A320 series neo? There might be many, but what I consider to be the main distinguishing feature, and since I'm the chairman, I'm always right, except when I'm wrong. This is the main distinguishing feature. Is that a big emoji, Joshua? Josh?
I think it's a big feature.
Big feature.
Hands.
That's round 2, question 2. Round 2, question 3. Hopefully easy one. Can you name the aircraft type? Can you name this aircraft type? This question is going to be a source of debate. Is that because you think there are lots of different features that aren't main ones, Brandon? Thanks, Josh. That wasn't the feature I had in mind. But round 2, question 3, that was. Round 2, question 4. On the A380, are the wings longer or shorter than the fuselage? You might get a bonus point if you actually know the distances, the lengths. So on the A380, are the wings longer or shorter than the fuselage? Oh yes, but Matthew Craig Taylor, that assumes that everyone knows when you see it what neo means.
Makes a noise.
Is it? That's another thing you learned tonight. The reason it's called neo is because it makes a noise, like Abby just demonstrated. Sound effects are optional. So round 2, question 4.
Oh, they same it? No. A220 has... I remember. Same as the E2.
Round 2, question 5. Can you name the aircraft and a bonus if you know the airline? So thank you to Senor Ramirez. I haven't seen him on tonight, but for this photograph, bit of a clue there. Name the aircraft and bonus if you know the airline. The name the aircraft round in civil world is a bit more difficult now because it's becoming a bit less varied now, but anyway, name the aircraft. Not sure, Lucy, whether you saw any strange aircraft this week, whether we got them in the quiz or not, but maybe. Round 2, question 6.
I'm hurt, Peter. I'm hurt.
I don't know.
This is why I'm left in the flight.
I don't know where the mute is, but round 2, question 6. What new generation Airbus type features Rolls-Royce engines only? So unless it's changed, this new generation Airbus type, you're only allowed Rolls-Royce engines. Why would you want any other Rolls-Royce engines? Others are available. Sorry if there's any other engine manufacturer people listening, but controversial, not. What new generation Airbus type features Rolls-Royce engines only? Hopefully you're finding this round a bit easier if you found round 1 difficult. Round 2, question 7. Can you name the aircraft type? So we've got some photographs from over the pond tonight. Name the aircraft type. Some say one of the best aircraft they've flown, some don't. Some say this was a better colour scheme than the new one, some don't. Round 2, question 7, that is. Round 2, question 8. So, who mentioned this aircraft earlier? That was Josh, I think. Or was it? I can't remember. According to Airbus, how many variants of the Airbus A220 are there? According to Airbus, how many variants of the Airbus A220 are there? Oh, nothing funky, apart from the GA convention that somebody spotted that you had over your house the other day, Lucy. Well, that's good, Josh. You like this round? That's good. So, according to Airbus, that's that question. Round 2, question 9. Can you name the aircraft type? Not this actual aircraft, but can you name the aircraft type? And you get a bonus if you know which air traffic control tower that is in the background. No bonus for the airline, I'm afraid, because I think we had this airline in one of the previous ones. So that's round 2, question 9. And round 2, question 10. Qantas ran a Project Sunrise for ultra-long-haul flights, and an aircraft type was announced to have won it prior to lockdown, prior to all of this. So I assume it all survives Project Sunrise. Which aircraft type has won the competition? Probably not the Airbus A220. So that's round 2, question 10. 6 different GA aircraft, no idea why they decided to congregate above me. Do you have a beacon in your house, or do you have any sort of GA NDBs, or no? People doing NDB approaches around your house, maybe? Oh, Mark, you gave away the bonus point. Well, maybe one of the unofficial bonus points. That's the end of round 2 then. Whipping through tonight to give you time to get out into the sunshine if you have a chance to. Not exact type, no. Series is fine, Josh. And that's the end of round 2. Oh, is it cancelled? Oh, well, luckily I did say prior to this the COVID-19. So that's the end of round 2. We'll take a little bit of a pause just to enable you to catch up, and we'll go on to military aircraft. Somewhere you've been, not Luton. Right, so that's the end of round 2, start of round 3, military aircraft. So round 3, question 1, hopefully a nice gentle one to start you off. Can you name the aircraft type? Military aircraft type, of course. Oh, James, I didn't realise it's been postponed. Oh, well, they announced before it's been postponed that this competition, the winner had been selected. I haven't been telling you how many rounds the marks are out of, but we'll do that when we get to the end of round 3. So that's round 3, question 1. Name the aircraft type. Round 3, question 2. What is the name of the UK Royal Navy's aviation branch? Sorry, Josh, I missed that before you put the disregard. So the UK Royal Navy's aviation branch. Round 3, question 3. Can you name the aircraft? Aircraft type, not the actual aircraft, because it's a bit difficult from that, unless sharp-eyed amongst you can spot that.
In my eyes, it's always the same one.
Yeah, Abby thinks this is always the same aircraft type. I won't say which one she thinks it is, but yet. Round 3, question 3. Proper name.
Proper name?
Is this for round 3, question 3, Mark?
Oh.
Let me know, Mark, if you need to know we need to know which question ideally, because there's a bit of a lag. Round 3, question 4. In what US state is Eglin Air Force Base? In what US state is Eglin Air Force Base? Question 2, Mark. Round 3, question 2.
Go back.
Just quickly go back to round 3, question 2. So, the name of the UK Royal Navy's aviation branch. Proper name, yes. You said it's not knowing what you have in mind, Mark, but yes, proper name.
That's just showing off.
Bonus for the model of the type, and if you can tell which squadron it's from and serial number. No, that's, yeah, you can get a bonus for that. So that's round 3, question 4. Round 3, question 5. Can you name the helicopter type? So, a bit of a South American slant to some of these questions. Bonus if you've landed there. Not sure if Abby's in the mood for bonus points. She hasn't mentioned anything about unofficial bonuses tonight, but
why not?
when we get to the answers, maybe.
You can be my first mark.
Round 3, question 6. Which French fighter features in the UAE Air Force inventory for our Middle Eastern located friends? Which French fighter features in the UAE Air Force inventory? According to all the sources I could find, anyway. I don't think they've moved any new ones in or changed anything. Which French fighter aircraft features in the UAE Air Force inventory? This is one of those Vangelis-like tracks tonight.
It's always midway through.
Round 3, question 7. The RAF have a new pre-fast jet trainer that took over from the Tucano, based at Valley. What's its name? Has a designator as well, but what's its name? Very fast. It's a bit funky, this track. Not sure who this is. Round 3, question 8. What's the aircraft type? What is this aircraft type? It isn't the same as any ones you've seen earlier in the questions, anyway. Where have you been, Josh? Round 3, question 9. Which RAF base will the Red Arrows move to in 2022? It was announced that the RAF Red Arrows will move in 2022 to a new base. What is it? Which base? Rumours that they're going to get 9 Typhoons. But I don't think that's unlikely. But and anyone listening to this quiz wants to spread that rumour further. But,
Chinese whispers.
anyone who ever saw any of the Farnborough Air Show 9, I think it was 9 Lightnings in formation, you had to have a pair of ear defenders, but it was a fantastic sight. Not that, of course, the Red Arrows aren't with Hawks.
F-35's pretty cool.
F-35s, yeah. Round 3, question 10. Can you name this aircraft type in RAF service? It was. It's not in our RAF service now, but can you name the aircraft type? It may make some of you go all soft and gooey.
Soft and gooey.
Oh, sorry, Lucy.
It's just no.
And finally one she knows, but...
Oh.
So that's round 3, question 10. Would anyone like any of the those questions again? So just to allow you to catch up, courtesy of Wings TV, we're going to give you a half-time flying display. Not sure, Jed. So we're going to have a halftime flying display just to allow you to catch up, and we'll resume immediately afterwards if I can make this all work.
when we first saw that rehearse, there was silence in the commentary box, and it wasn't silence for lack of appreciation, it was silence in absolute respect for not only the spectacle that we've seen, but the sheer spectacle that we've witnessed here in the commentary box. What an absolutely superb display.
So hopefully you enjoyed that lunchtime midway flying display. There's no commercial arrangement between us and Wings TV, by the way. This is actually just to share amongst this lockdown a bit of flying. Somebody, I think, said at Riyadh when this displayed that it was the best flying display they'd ever seen. Don't know, Joseph, if you've ever flown one, but a bit of an impressive aircraft. So we thought we'd share that. Anyway, so we'll move on with the answers if you're ready to go to the answers for rounds 1, 2, and 3. So the answers to round 1, aviation general knowledge. Over 200 miles an hour. So next time you're at that barbecue or you're locked down, we were sitting on a long-haul aircraft in a seat, 200 miles an hour. Don't know if anyone has any precise speed, but when we get the IPS fitted to the aircraft, we'll know next time, but over 200 miles an hour. Round 1, question 2. Is a manned aircraft that can be launched in 5 minutes, according to most sources on the internet, typically used on aircraft carriers. I think it's used in Top Gun. By the way, who hasn't seen Top Gun?
Lucy.
Lucy.
Was it
Have
Lucy?
you seen Top Gun? Since we mentioned it in one of the rounds.
And
anyway.
the Lion King.
And the Lion King. Anyway, Alert 5 is mentioned in Top Gun. Round 1, question 3. Atlanta, Hartsfield, Jackson, and it's the same in 2019. In 2018, I think Chicago pipped Atlanta by passengers, but in 2019, according to most of the sources, Atlanta, Hartsfield, Jackson won it back.
Another one I haven't seen, Top Gun.
What? Gareth?
Sorry, it's a requirement after this.
It's a requirement now, you have to see Top Gun. So at least you can spot the term Alert 5. Round 1, question 4. KLM were the world's oldest airline in 1919. I think they're still carrying their 100th delivery on their aircraft. So just, I think, the year before the BA 100. So 1919. Oh no, same year as the BA 100. KLM 1919. Round 1, question 5. It was Trans World Airlines, TWA, in 1961. So 2 points there if you know both of those. Bob, you don't get any points, of course, because you provided the question. So thank you again for that. Round 1, question 6. A collective lever adjusts the pitch of all of the main rotor blades at the same time. So is a bit of an up and down lever in a crude sense. There's another question linked to helicopters we might have next week that's a bit of one of those, oh, I didn't know that, questions, but that's what the collective does on a helicopter. The airline that first invented business class Qantas in 1979, they didn't get a bonus point for that. Well, you can give yourself one if you know it was 1979, but we didn't put that in as a bonus. Round 1, question 8. It means, I know we have FastJet people on here, but according to most of the sources, I could verify a tight high G change of heading. We saw a few of those in the Raptor display, a reference to the rapid Batmobile maneuver in the old Batman television series. I'm sure there's nobody on here tonight who knows the old Batman television series, but maybe there are. Round 1, question 9. 2507. So up until recently it was 2608 for quite a long time, but due to magnetic variation changes it changed to 2507. Another one of those useless bits of information unless you're landing in Luton soon, in which case you'll probably know that. And round 1, question 10. As Alaska Airlines in 1999 were the first who introduced internet and online check-in. Who knew? So that's the end of round 1 answers. Round 2 answers if you're ready. Also, round 1 was out of 12 if you take the official bonus points. Round 2 is also out of 12. This is A300-600. I think it was the first aircraft, if my memory sadly serves me right, that they had to change the all-metal American Airlines scheme because the tail is composite on this aircraft. Other useless information. Round 2, question 2, new engine option, or Abby's sound effect, is another reason. Perhaps that's the true reason why they called it Neo, is because they heard Abby's sound effect. Round 2, question 3, of course, the Boeing 747-400. Actually, that part of the aircraft, I'm not sure you'd spot the difference between any other 747, but I'm sure somebody might correct me. Round 2, question 4. The wings are longer than the fuselage, so the wings are 80 metres and the fuselage 72.7. If you knew anything of those amounts, you can give yourself a bonus point. Wings longer than the fuselage. This is Airbus A320 and Avianca Columbia, the scheme. Don't think we've got Avianca 757 on tonight, but maybe he'll watch it on catch up like some of you do. So round 2, question 5. Round 2, question 6. The Airbus A350 series. The hump. Yes. Good point, Mark. But what new generation Airbus, so the A350 series, has Rolls-Royce only as an option, although they're talking about opening it to competition. They were before the lockdown. 767, Boeing 767, don't need the 300 series. You can give yourself your own bonus point if you knew it was a 300, but it's a 767.
Large engines count me, I think.
Yes, I think that's right, Josh. Round 2, question 8. 2 variants, the 100 and the 300. Not sure what happened to the 200, but post in the comments if you know what happened to the 200. But officially, there are currently only 2 versions of the A220. Round 2, question 9. Airbus A330, and I think that's the right spelling, but it's Bangkok Tower and the tallest air traffic control tower in the world, I believe. I think Mark said that earlier. And round 2, question 10, the Airbus A350 again. So before it was postponed. So that's out of 12. And then round 3, question 1. This is out of 10. So the Boeing P8. Round 3, question is Fleet Aero 767 your favourite? Or maybe we need an iconic aircraft round on the 767.
They look pretty, but they're very...
Round 3, question 3, the F-15.
Everything's an F-15.
Everything's an F-15. I thought everything was something else you said.
It's always F-15.
Round 3, question 4, Eglin Air Force Base is in Florida. I believe it's the centre of armaments training. For some reason, it always sounds like it should be in another state, like Nevada, but Eglin's in Florida. Round 3, question 5, UH-60 Black Hawk. Holy moly, full marks on that round. Well done. Wow. Is that the first time ever? Got the collective question right. Good. Round 3, question 6. The French fighter that features in the UAE is the Mirage 2000. Always controversy, of course, that came out immediately after the Ferry Delta. Round 3, question 6. Round 3, question 7 is the T1 Texan. So the aircraft that took over from the Tucano, I think it's made by Beechcraft, the Beech T1 Texan. Round 3, question 8 is the F-16. Round 3, question 9, RAF Waddington will be the new base of the Red Arrows after they move from Scampton in 2022, based on current plans.
Yeah, I thought it was too, Josh, apparently. It was planned for the 350.
Round 3, question 10, the VC-10 in its tanker variant. Landing, I think, at Greenham Common. No, at Fairford, at Riyadh. Oh, another film to watch, Black Hawk Down. Have you seen that one?
So,
Lee Abby hasn't watched it, so you can get back at her for not watching Black Hawk Down then. Lincolnshire, shout out for Lincolnshire. So that's the end of round 3 and the end of part 2, in fact, so we'll move on to rounds 4 and 5. We'll take a little bit of a pause. So that round 3 was out of 10, so first one out of 12, second one out of 12, third one out of 10, and we'll have a bit of a post of marks towards the end, total marks. Am I sure about round 3, question 1? Round 3, question 1 was
P1. No, yeah, P8. No, that's definitely the Boeing P8.
No, that's a Boeing P8. So, round 4. Aviation people in history. So, I know some of you don't like this round, but hopefully, at least if you don't like it, we share a bit of history and a bit about people. So, round 4, question 1. Who is this aircraft designer? Quite a famous aircraft designer. Bit of a clue in the photograph. If I showed you the photo credit, there would be an even bigger clue. Why does 4 windows go upwards? Oh.
Because 2 wheels on the main gear.
No, I don't think so, James. But I'll check. Ah, well spotted. Oh. Give yourself a one point and I'll check on it afterwards.
Yeah, the P8 is based on 7.3, isn't it?
Yeah. Anyway, we'll check. Round 4, question 1. So, who's this aircraft designer? We might feature a few more aircraft designers just to test your knowledge on who designed which aircraft. Round 4, question 2. Elmer Sperry was famous for a particular invention that most aviators rely on quite heavily now in 1912. What was it? I can see you're into question 1. Well, we'll have a good look afterwards, but in the meantime, give yourself a bonus point. Just in doubt. It's only for fun. So.
The P9 to 7.3.
Round 4, question 3. We're going to play you 3 clips. So these are female voices. I'm sure you'll tell that anyway from the clips. And I'd like to know who you think the people are in the sound clips. So if you're ready, there are 3 clips, so there'll be 3 points, 1 for each, and I'll play the round twice. So here we go. I'll just turn the microphone off. Number 1.
Exactly the trials and difficulties that you encountered in coming across.
Well, I'll try to give you some of the highlights of the trip if you wish. I took off the famous Harbour Grace runway at dusk, about 7:30 I believe. I flew for a couple of hours while sunset lasted, and then 2 more hours as the moon came up over a bank of clouds.
Number 2.
This is when I became an airline pilot. This was with Morton's.
So you've got your wings.
Yes.
So when you were getting on the plane in your uniform and
Yes.
the passengers saw you, how did they respond?
Oh, the stewardesses used to have a lovely time watching their reactions. But the men seemed to be fairly phlegmatic about it. Oh, well, if she's up front, the company must know what they're doing. The women were a bit scared to begin with. I always made a point of speaking to them if there was a problem. So I'd go into the cabin and talk to them. And on one occasion, a woman said, "Oh, I am glad we have a woman pilot."
Number 3.
So, what is it like being an astronaut?
I think the hardest question to answer is what is it like, because it's so diverse. You know, there's the rocket, there's the companionship with your crew members, there's the just feeling weightless, there's looking out the window, there's doing things that you can't do on Earth, growing crystals of.
Number 1.
Exactly the trials and difficulties that you encountered in coming across.
Well, I'll try to give you some of the highlights of the trip if you wish. I took off the famous Harbour Grace runway at dusk, about 7:30 I believe. I flew for a couple of hours while sunset lasted, and then 2 more hours as the moon came up over a bank of clouds.
Number 2.
This is when I became an airline pilot. This was with Morton's.
So you've got your wings.
Yes.
So when you were getting on the plane in your uniform and
Yes.
the passengers saw you, how did they respond?
Oh, the stewardesses used to have a lovely time watching their reactions. But the men seem to be fairly phlegmatic about it. Oh, well, if she's up front, the company must know what they're doing. The women were a bit scared to begin with. I always made a point of speaking to them if there was a problem. So I'd go into the cabin and talk to them. And on one occasion, a woman said, "Oh, I am glad we have a woman pilot."
Number 3.
So, what is it like being an astronaut?
I think the hardest question to answer is what is it like, because it's so diverse. You know, there's the rocket, there's the companionship with your crew members, there's the just feeling weightless, there's looking out the window, there's doing things that you can't do on Earth, growing crystals.
So hopefully, might have been some clues in there, but 3 ladies talking about aviation, air and space. So 1 point for each.
Yeah, I pointed that out earlier, Mark. Elbocon. Also a dab.
Round 4, question 4. Who was the first American woman in space? Who was the first American woman in space? So hopefully you'll be glued to the manned space launch tomorrow in the evening. So, I don't know, big controversy about this. Who was the first American woman in space? Tomorrow night, 2 astronauts blasting off from Cape Canaveral, so should be compelling watching. Round 4, question 5. What were John Alcock and Arthur Brown famous for? Round 4, question 6. What year was the first Farnborough Air Show? We talked about Farnborough a few times on this quiz. When was the first Farnborough Air Show? Round 4, question 7. How many recognised pilots are there in the UK royal family? And there's a point for each. So this could be a reasonably high scoring round. Is that you, Abby?
What the first ever relatives there?
You in the UK royal family?
No, I think that was from a previous one.
Oh. How many recognised pilots are there in the UK royal family? A
Can be.
point for each. Bonus if you know their aircraft.
Surprisingly,
Yes,
one
Bob.
of them.
Bonus points for sitting in the aircraft. Yes, Justin. You can tell people after your round where you can find the aircraft, of course. Round 4, question 8. Who was the first UK female pilot to fly faster than sound? The first UK female pilot to fly faster than sound. And round 4, question 9. Cat size. Oh, I gave the answer. What was the nickname of John Cunningham, the RAF night fighter ace and test pilot on the Comet? Give you a clue there.
No one heard.
The nickname of John Cunningham, the RAF night fighter ace and test pilot on the Comet. One of those famous aviation people that hopefully everyone knows. This music's very quiet. This is that quiet track, I think. Before it goes loud again. And then round 4, question 10. Name the US actors that are talking about their love of aviation on these 3 clips. So I'm going to play you 3 clips. I'll play them twice. And these are a bit of a clue. US actors. I think you'll probably spot the fact they're US, talking about their love of aviation. Number 1.
I feel a great sense of responsibility and purpose when I'm flying. When I got to college, I took a few flying lessons because I had a personal interest in airplanes and in aviation.
Number 2.
Yeah, the love of airplanes for pilots, I think, it's almost inexplicable. It's the experience itself. It's the fact that you can't explain it, I think, that makes you feel the way you do about it.
Number 3.
Honestly, it's the flying. I love long flights over water. It's in the quantum spirit of long-distance romantic flights, and I think that's what I'm most looking forward to. Well, right now I have a special eye on Hong Kong and Tokyo, and of course the base, Sydney, is I'm looking forward to because that's where the biggest fanfare will be, I think. And it'll be fun to do Europe as well.
Number 1.
I feel a great sense of responsibility and purpose when I'm flying. When I got to college, I took a few flying lessons because I had a personal interest in airplanes and in aviation.
Number 2.
Yeah, the love of airplanes for pilots, I think, it's almost inexplicable. It's the experience itself that it's the fact that you can't explain it. I think that makes you feel the way you do about it.
Number 3.
Honestly, it's the flying. I love long flights over water. It's in the quantum spirit of long-distance romantic flights, and I think that's what I'm most looking forward to. Well, right now I have a special eye on Hong Kong and Tokyo, and of course the base Sydney is I'm looking forward to because that's where the biggest fanfare will be, I think, and it'll be fun to do Europe as well.
Number 1.
I feel
So that was 3 people, 3 US actors talking about the love of aviation. 1 point each you get for those questions, those answers. So, round 5, the round you've all been waiting for, and the round that Justin has put together for us. So I can vouch for none of these questions or answers, but I'm pretty sure they're all good. And so thank you to the use of these photographs as well that came with the round. Let's turn this music down a bit. So, round 5, and we'll go through the round. Round 5, question 1. What altitude did Concorde cruise at? So this is our iconic aircraft round. This week we've chosen Concorde. So what altitude did Concorde cruise at? When did you last see that aircraft then, Justin? We need to give you some points to make up your score for this round. Abby can do that. That one, negotiate that one with you. Round 5, question 1. The altitude that Concorde cruised at? Round 5, question 2. What is the record time that Concorde took to fly from New York to Heathrow? What is the record time that Concorde took to fly from New York to Heathrow? If you want any variation on the answers, we'll get Justin to agree what the margin of error you can have is. So the record time that Concorde took to fly. Round 5, question 3. What was the average cruising speed of Concorde in miles per hour? The average cruising speed of Concorde in miles per hour. Do you have that photograph on your desk or somewhere, Justin, just to remind you what it looks like then?
I think we all forgot what planes look like by now.
71 days since you flew, is it?
And counting.
Round 5, question 4. So a cancelled aircraft project led Concorde to get her Rolls-Royce Olympus 593 engines. Can you name the cancelled aircraft project that led Concorde to get the engines? And you get a bonus point if you know the aircraft type that they were tested on. Oh, I didn't know that. Matthew Senior. Is that Matt?
He's just full of knowledge, that one.
Oh, yes. Josh indicated true or ground speed. Oh,
Sure,
well,
Justin's answered.
thank you, Justin. Ground speed. Thank you for jumping in there.
If you can give us all 3, then we'd appreciate.
We just turn the microphone over to you and you can read the questions, Justin. Hopefully you're fully recovered. Round 5, question 5. When did Concorde last fly with the red arrows? Do you get a bonus point, Justin, if you know the event as well as the year? Do you give bonus points in your rounds? 250 days, wow.
Thomas Cookie.
Justin, almost 1,000. So Justin, just let me know at some stage if you want to give a bonus point for anyone who knows the event as well as the year.
1,000 days.
1,000 days.
Sheesh.
Round 5, question 6. What's the name of the special departure that Concorde would use from runway 31 left at New York JFK Airport? Special departure that Concorde would use. Ah. Being generous. So Justin, yes, just for the record, if you know the event that the Concorde flew with the red arrows as well as the year, then you get a bonus. What if you organised it? Yeah, you should probably get a bonus as well.
Sure.
Round 5, question 7. How long would it take Concorde to complete the London Marathon at supersonic speed? Not sure that means flying around the entire course. That's the distance, I assume. How long would it take Concorde to complete the London Marathon at supersonic speed? Round 5, question 8. When did Concorde land for the last time? Bonus where? When did Concorde land for the last time? And the bonus point for where?
If you state which way it turned on departure.
You'll have to, Justin, can you answer James's question? Get a bonus point if you know which way it turned on departure. 50% chance.
Well, it could go straight on.
Would it be called a departure maneuver? Could be. Round 5, question 9. This Concorde is on the approach to a Caribbean airport. Which one is it? So that's round 5, question 9. Nice sunny photograph.
Yeah. Or was that England?
Yes, James, so you get a bonus point. So Justin's feeling generous. And round 5, question 10. How much would Concorde expand during supersonic flight? To the nearest something. How much would Concorde expand during supersonic flight?
To the nearest something.
Do we accept answers in centimetres or any sort of Justin? Oh, good. At least you know the answers to your own questions. That's good. Sometimes I don't. So that's round 5, question 10. Thank you to Justin for setting that round, and we'll talk about iconic aircraft round next week in a minute, and we'll take a very brief pause and move on with the answers to rounds 4 and 5, and then we'll go to the bonus round that you've all been waiting for. Inches. Do we do any metric conversions, Justin?
I don't want to know that.
So, round 4, aviation people history answers. So this is, of course, Sir Geoffrey de Havilland, the designer of lots of different aircraft, including the one he's holding, and the photo, kind permission of the de Havilland Aircraft Museum. And assuming you want us to, and we carry on with these quizzes, we'll start to introduce. We had lots of offers of photographs and things to start using, all of course for fun and for free. So we might start to introduce some of these going forward. So the great man Sir Geoffrey de Havilland still, I think, runs, there's a trust run in his name, a flying scholarship trust, the Geoffrey de Havilland Flying Scholarship, funnily enough. So that's round 4, question 1. Round 4, question 2. Elmer Sperry invented the autopilot in 1912. Also, Sperry became a fairly significant avionics manufacturer. I'm not sure who they got eventually taken over by. But round 4, question 2. Round 4, question 3. Amelia Earhart, of course, the first one, Yvonne Pope's Synthes. Now, maybe not a lady you've heard of, but was the first commercial airline pilot, and also, I believe, the first air traffic controller at Gatwick Airport, first female air traffic controller, as well as the first female commercial aircraft pilot. So not a lady that you hear about every day in the news, but a couple of firsts there. And the third, of course, was Helen Sharman, the Britain's first astronaut, to celebrate the week of manned flight to space. Round 4, question 4. First American woman in space was Sally Ride. I think died, of cancer in the late 90s, but the first American woman in space, Sally Ride. Hopefully those from across the pond see a bit more balance in the photograph, in the questions tonight, trying to be a bit more international. Round 4, question 5 was the first transatlantic non-stop flight. I think, Justin, did you say you get a bonus point because you sat in it? And there were a few others, unofficial bonus points being handed out. amongst you all earlier, so it's just for fun, so give yourself bonus points. Round 4, question 5. Round 4, question 6. The first Farnborough Air Show was in 1948. Those of you who missed round 1 went on to 1972, I believe, where you could only demonstrate British aircraft or aircraft with British engines. So quite a long run before other countries were allowed in. Round 4, question 7. There are 6 recognised pilots according to most sources I could find. Those 6 listed there, and so a bit of a bonus points fest. So you get 1 point for each of those if you know what they are. This round will be out of 19 in total. Just leave those out for a bit longer. Oh, you could give yourself a bonus point, Matt, because they must have announced it in 1947 that it's going to be in 1948. So, feeling generous tonight. Round 4, question 8. The first UK female pilot to fly faster than sound was a lady called Diana Bonato Walker in 1963 in a Lightning. Again, not a fact. The answer for round 4, question 2 was...
I think we need to work out that Josh needs to multitask.
Autopilot. Round 4, question 9. Cat's Eyes Cunningham. Bob's going to tell you on the comments why he was called Cat's Eyes Cunningham. I think some people might know, don't know. And round 4, question 10. Harrison Ford, of course. Kurt Russell, whose father was also a pilot. And the last one, John Travolta, who I believe flew the line for Qantas for a while.
He has the coolest house too.
Has a cool house in... Does he still have it in Florida? When he has a garage, but I think he...
747, isn't it?
I think he might have one of those, but he also has an aircraft goes out of the garage and connects to the runway, that place in Florida where you can have aircraft in the hangar, in the garage. So that's the end of round 4. So that round is out of 19, with the royal family bonus points particularly. And then the iconic aircraft round, Concorde round. 60,000 feet plus or minus nothing. Oh well, Josh, I like to give away the occasional answer. Yeah, I think it was a Qantas 707. In fact, that interview was in front of a Qantas 707.
What were the bonus points in round?
The bonus points in round 4. So there were
Capsize.
total of 19.
So I thought you said capsize.
Oh.
Dang, could have got away with that.
Round 4, I'll just find the bonus points. So there was a...
Who's got it? We should disregard.
Okay, good. Round 5, question 2. 2 hours, 52 minutes. Plus or minus anything, Justin? Don't think so. 1 minute.
Ah, but the myth came from about eating carrots, apparently.
Yeah, yeah. Well done, Bob. I think we'll go with that one. Round 5, question 3. 1,350 miles an hour, plus or minus nothing, Justin? Anyone say what it is in knots or Mach number?
Intrigued to hear what Mum and Steph said.
Round 5, question 4. The TSR-2 led to the engines already being designed and ready for Concorde.
In 59 seconds.
Wow. And they were tested at the Vulcan, I think I saw it at Farnborough, with one of the engines replaced with an Olympus engine. Oh, 2 hours, 58 minutes. Oh, I didn't know that. Round 5, question 5. When did Concorde last fly with the red arrows? It was in 2002, 2002, at the Queen's Golden Jubilee. And this is a photograph, presumably out of the collection, Justin, that of whoever it was flying the Concorde at the time. Could have been Mark. Could it?
No.
Round 5, question 6. The Canarsie climb. I think there's also a turn in there. Is it left turn? So, James, I think you get a maybe a bonus point for that. Round 5, question 7. 1 minute 20 seconds to do the London Marathon. That sounds about the sort of marathon that suits me, really. 1 minute 20 seconds.
Yeah, Mike Bannister. There you go.
Mike Bannister. Round 5, question 8. Concorde landed for the last time on November the 26th to 2003. Well, I think we'll just accept the year for that one, and Filton being the bonus point for the destination. And then round 5, question 9. This is Barbados, Caribbean airport, which I think we covered last week in the round in terms of where one of the Concordes is now, or at least was on display. Then round 5, question 10. Somebody mentioned about you could do strange things, so that here's a gap of around 8 inches where you can put your hands in, as long as you don't leave them there when the aircraft slows down and descends. Then this is how much Concorde expanded, around 8 inches. So that's the end of round 5. Thank you again to Justin for that round. And we're going to go straight into round 6. So that round 5 was out of 12 points, I believe, with the bonus points, apart from any unofficial ones. Do you get an extra point for the airport name? Yes. You do, as long as Justin can answer it. I think I might know, but Justin can answer that. So that's out of 12, and we'll move on to the final round, which I don't think has any bonus points at the moment, so it's going to be out of 10. And thank you to Peter, Headboard Cockpit Witts, for putting this round together. In fact, I think this is his fourth round for this quiz, so thank you for putting those in. And so the clue is, so this is NATO phonetic alphabet. So the questions don't necessarily relate to aviation, but the answers are the words, or the words appear in the answer. So actually, hopefully that'll become clear. But if you think of the NATO phonetic alphabet, so for instance, starting alpha, all of these answers, so 10 questions relating to that. So round 6, question 1. What was the name of the 1964 film starring Michael Caine set in January 1879? So remember NATO phonetic alphabet. What was the name of the 1964 film starring Michael Caine that's set in January 1879? So that's round 6, question 1. Round 6, question 2. What play do these lines appear in? I won't do them with any particular voice because I'm no good at it. Good night, parting is such sweet sorrow that I shall say good night till it be morrow. What play do these lines appear in? Remember, NATO phonetic alphabet. Oh, Gareth, you know then. At least you know this one. Round 6, question 3. What was the president of Haiti from 1957 to 1971? Remember the continuing clue through this round, phonetic alphabet. Who was the president of Haiti from 1957 to 1971? Bonus point if you can pronounce it properly. Who was the president of Haiti? Or Haiti? Haiti. Round 6, question 4. What's the name of a 1972 erotic drama film? Remember My Brother Set These? Directed by Bernardo Bertolucci, starring Marlon Brando and Maria Schneider. 1972 film. NATO phonetic alphabet clue.
I think I can hear Stephen Mum next door going, Alpha Bravo.
Round 6, question 5. Which city does George Chavez International Airport, George Chavez International Airport serve? Best of luck to anyone who's flying in there when you talk to their approach or their tower. Which city is that? Round 6, question 5. Round 6, question 6. What was the first jet aircraft to exceed 1,000 miles an hour in level flight on the 10th of March 1956? Bonus point if you know how old Peter was when that took place. Peter, Headboard Cockpit Witts. Bonus point. So what was the first jet aircraft to exceed 1,000 miles an hour in level flight on 10th of March 1956? NATO phonetic alphabet. Round 6, question 7. Which famous British film star and director in 1919 co-founded the film studio United Artists? So which British film star and director in 1919 co-founded the film studio United Artists? How are you doing so far? It's gone quiet on the comments. Is that good?
We're all going through.
How quickly can you count through the letters? Round 6, question 8. Which city not in France, underline not in France, has a predominantly French-speaking population with French as the sole provincial official language? Bit of a tongue twister. So the city that's not in France has a predominantly French-speaking population. Which city is it?
I was very overconfident with this earlier, to be
If you have a
honest.
checklist in front of you, you can just cross off the ones you haven't used. Good ploy.
See, it's
Sorry,
always
Justin.
harder than you thought.
Round 6, question 9. Do you know much about films? So, musical film, 1942, American biographical musical film about George Cohan, the man who owned Broadway, starring James Cagney and Joan Leslie. Do you know? Looking at your keyboard, Mark.
I wasn't entirely sure if that would help, to be honest.
So, I can assure you that having seen the answers that this does have a NATO phonetic alphabet answer. And round 6, question 10. What was the name of the 1993 book written under the pseudonym Andy McNabb? Missing question mark. What was the name of the 1993 book written under the pseudonym Andy McNabb? Oh, sorry, Josh.
You don't know much about the Lion King either.
You might know
Josh,
when
so-
you hear it. So that's round 6, question 10. Does anyone want any of the round 6 questions repeated? Take a quick pause there, and then we'll do the answers to round 6, and then we'll just talk about iconic aircraft for next week, and we'll be nearly finished by 9 o'clock. Time to get out before it gets dark.
Bedtime.
So round 6 answers then. So I think these are out of 10. I don't think there are any bonuses there. Round 6, question 1 was Zulu. Someone said, I think earlier, it was a good film.
Sorry, Josh, that's not my name. I'm not taking it.
Oh, this round may have saved you. Oh, Bob. So Zulu was the first one. Second one, Romeo and Juliet. You don't get, 2 points. It's 1 point for that answer. I'm sure you've all uttered this many times off by heart at various times of the day. Round 6, question 3. Papa Doc Francois Duvalier. Francois Duvalier.
Chips off the tongue, really, isn't it?
Not sure what he was to his friends, whether he was Doc or Papa or Duvalier or Headboard Cockpit Wits. You might be able to answer that one. Round 6, question 4. Last Tango in Paris. You're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off. Well, that's a different film, isn't it?
Not related. Charlie.
Round 6, question 5 was Lima. I'm sure you all got that one. It's much easier when you have the answers. Papa. Ah, sorry, Mark.
Most people call him son.
Yes, until they were shot. Is that right? I don't know.
If you've got an accent, that might sound native.
Round 6, question 6 was the Fairy Delta. I think we had that aircraft in one of the previous rounds. Don't think we've repeated any of the questions yet. It's getting a bit like that after round 6, but hopefully we haven't, lockdown wise, we haven't repeated any questions. Round 6, question 7 was Charlie Chaplin. Round 6, question 8 was Quebec. Do we had the same letters twice? Don't know.
No.
I haven't checked. Round 6, question 9, Yankee Doodle Dandy. I'm sure you've maybe heard of that now, but whether you knew it was linked to that 1942 American musical film. Yankee Doodle Dandy. And the last question of the round, in fact, of the quiz, Bravo 20 was the name of the book written under the pseudonym Bravo 20. So 10 points if you... no bonus points as far as I'm aware for that round. And thank you to Peter for putting that together. And Peter's, I think, about 3 quizzes ahead, so we've got a few more rounds under the bonus round, different linked to aviation subjects. So thank you for the mind-bending questions and for doing that work, Peter. And so that's the end of round 6, and in fact the end of the quiz. So I think if I've got my totals right, it should be 75 points on total on offer. So while you do your totaling up, and we'd just like to know the points in the comments, we're going to have a choose the iconic aircraft round here. So I've chosen 5 arbitrary big jets, thanks to Big Jets TV. No commercial deal here, just adding a bit of fun and flying to the proceedings. We're going to run through 5 clips, and then just like to know which ones you think we would have in as the iconic aircraft round for next week. So I'll just play this.
Yeah, just some pace.
Yeah, we need to get going.
Yeah, just leave it to me on. Right here at London, Heathrow. Wow, a lot of people watching live right now on Big Jet TV. Big welcome.
So I think we've got a bit of a vote there, but we'll choose one of those. So I think there is a bit of a, if you look in the comments, there is a bit of a leader, but we'll take a view. And if any of you want to send in some questions, then feel free to send in questions to match the iconic aircraft round. So we will have an iconic aircraft round, obviously not as iconic as Concorde, but we'll choose one of those, and actually we'll put those in for next week. So thank you again for listening. We'll be back next week until you tell us to stop coming back, and keep safe, keep well until next week, and we'll note down all the scores. Hope you all had fun, and we will see you next week. Thank you very much. Good night.